What's up, guys, and welcome to the channel. Today we are talking about Halloween Horror Nights. So me and Nicole had a great opportunity to go spend a couple days for opening weekend here at Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios Orlando. And we have some tips, some tricks, some information to make your guys' trip possibly a little easier. All right, guys, so before you go to Halloween Horror Nights, there is one thing that I think that you should not do, and that is check out videos that have full-blown house walkthroughs. So if you look at what the house is going to be like 100% all the way through, and you already know what's coming, it's definitely going to take away from that experience at Halloween Horror Nights, and we just recommend that you just wait till maybe after you've done the event to do that. Now, if for some reason you 100% need to see a full walkthrough of the house, we'd recommend that you guys check out our friends over at Ordinary Adventures. They have every house full walkthrough, and they are actually really cool people. So we'd recommend that you guys check them out if you haven't done so already. So with that being said, let's get on to the video, get on to the tips and tricks, and go have an amazing night at Halloween Horror Nights 2021.
Does anything set Halloween Horror Nights off better
Than a bloody Smurf?
than a murdered up Smurf in a glass?
Not one fucking bit. And believe it or not, they don't bleed blue, they bleed red. And they taste delicious. I know why Gargamel's always after them.
So this is the Wicked Growth House. So pretty gnarly looking, honestly. Tim the Tracker's ruining my shot right now. Come on, Tim, get out of the way. We had a great opportunity, a chance to go spend a few days at opening weekend for Halloween Horror Nights. This is something that me and Nicole do every single year. It's like a tradition. We take a bunch of friends with us, and we basically go through all the houses. We let you guys know kind of what we think. It's just something we love to do every year. Halloween season is like our favorite time of year. Nothing really gets you in that Halloween spirit more than Halloween Horror Nights. So every year we get super jacked up. We stay at Cabana Bay, which I'm actually going to be going over. I've had a ton of questions about our stay at Cabana Bay. Once I told everyone, hey, we were staying there, I had everybody asking me, is it still awesome? We've heard a bunch of problems going on at Cabana Bay, all kinds of different stuff at Cabana Bay, and I'm going to get into that in a different video all about Cabana Bay. So definitely hang around the channel. If you guys like what we're doing here, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. So everyone that is taking the time to hit that like button and subscribe for us, thank you guys so much. So Halloween Horror Nights 30. So last year, Halloween Horror Nights was presumably taken away from us.
Well, whatever the fuck it is, it's not happening.
Yeah, it's definitely, well, it's not happening because it happens at 5:30 in the afternoon. It's just a small thing that's really important to all of us, but trust me, it's gonna suck.
No, it's not gonna suck because it's canceled.
What?
I know that they did have a couple houses, and we went over those houses last year when we went through them. They did bring those houses back. They do have 10 haunted houses this year at Halloween Horror Nights. So let's talk about what I think overall of the event. So overall, I think the event was actually pretty good. It's definitely worth going. The production value that Universal Studios puts into this event is unmatched by any other production that you guys are going to find anywhere, definitely in Florida and probably across the nation. Honestly, they put a ton of money and a ton of work into this event. With that being said, guys, it is a COVID year, and Universal Studios, along with all of the other theme parks, are trying to get their money back. So do I think this event had as much money spent on it as it did in previous years? Absolutely not. I think there was definitely less scare actors. I definitely think that the houses themselves had less going on, were a little bit smaller. So does that make it not worth it? No, it was still great. It's a COVID year. Nothing else is going on. So it's amazing that we even had an event. So speaking of COVID, I wanted to get into a couple things because I know that I'm going to get asked this question. I've already seen it on the forums. Are they requiring masks in the houses? No, they are not requiring you to wear a mask. They are suggesting that you wear it. You are supposed to wear a mask anytime you are indoors, but nobody is hassling anybody to wear them. And we saw pretty much nobody wearing a mask indoors. That is something that we personally got asked already. Something else that we've been asked is, are the conga lines still going on? If you're not familiar with Halloween Horror Nights, the way that they push people through this house is basically a conga line. One after another, all the way down in a big continual line. They do not split the line up. They do not break it at all. A lot of people were hoping that with COVID, they were going to split that line up a little bit and give certain groups a break in the conga line, so to speak. That is not the case. So they are sending people through one after another, just like they have in all of the other years past. I will say that they are not rushing you through the houses as much as they were. Nobody came up to us and said that we should be moving on or moving faster. We didn't hear keep moving, anything like that. I definitely don't think that Universal wants to push the issue of jamming a bunch of people into a enclosed area. Along with that, both nights that we went, opening night and then the very next night, Saturday, were sold out event nights. So I definitely think that Universal has limited the amount of people that they allowed to buy tickets for those nights. Will that continue? I kind of seriously doubt it. So Universal's not stupid.
Are you stupid or something?
They know that on the first two nights, there's going to be a ton of people there recording for YouTube, just like we were. So they want to limit that exposure, limit the number of people, make it to where it doesn't look as bad as it actually is. I would assume that as the event goes on later, they will start to expand those numbers and allow more people into the parks. So with that being said, 65 minutes was the longest wait we saw in the park, and that was actually for Puppet Theater. We're going to get into all the houses momentarily, but I did want to say that we had Express Pass, and Express Pass allowed us to only wait 15 minutes in the very longest line that we found. At one point, Puppet Theater did show at capacity, and during that small time, which was about 15 or 20 minutes, they would not allow anybody in Express or Standby to enter the line. So once the line got brought back down to a manageable number, which happened to be 65 minutes, they allowed people to get back in, and that's when we actually went back in the line. So 65 minutes, not too bad. I will say that Universal did a pretty good job of managing the wait times here. So in the past, 65 minutes actually would have been kind of a low wait time, because we have been to Halloween Horror Nights, as I'm sure many of you have, and seen wait times in the 2 to 2.5 hour range without an issue. So Express Pass does not make as much sense currently if they're going to continue to limit the amount of people in. Scare zones. So in my opinion, the scare zones were pretty weak. I think one of the better scare zones is going to be Gorewood. Seek and Destroy, I had super high hopes for. I thought it was going to be honestly kind of amazing. And when you walk through it, some of it doesn't make sense, and I don't think they had enough staffing to fill that area with enough scare actors like they should have. Now that may change as time goes on, as they're able to hire more people, but it may not. I'll let you guys know. We'll obviously be going back to Halloween Horror Nights multiple times throughout the Halloween Horror Nights season. Seek and Destroy, like I said, some of the stuff did not make sense. We were walking through, and it's kind of got this like Daft Punk look to it. All the people are in these like weird helmets. It seems real space aged. And then you hear the chainsaws fire up, and I'm like, well, that chainsaw kind of seems out of place in a futuristic type setting. Just the chainsaws kind of felt out of place. And I definitely don't think in that particular area that they had enough scare actors. The Crypt TV area is a small area. I thought they did a fantastic job in theming. There's not a ton of scare actors, and there's really not anybody walking around jumping at you, scaring you. It's more of like movie scenes kind of happening in front of you. But it was pretty good, and like I said, theming wise, one of the better scare zones for sure. Gorewood Forest, definitely a people jumping out at you, scary, dark scare zones in the park. The other ones, they were okay, but I think staffing has really not helped the situation as far as that goes. You really need a lot of scare actors there, so while you're looking one way, another scare actor is able to run up to you from another direction. That's just not happening currently with the amount of people that they have in these areas. So let's get into some of the houses. So first of all, guys, let's talk about my top 5 houses. Houses that you definitely do not want to miss. Okay, so first on my list is, believe it or not, Wicked Growth. So this is, it's kind of a weird house. It's not like a hugely popular like Texas Chainsaw Massacre house or anything like that, but it was really, really well done. The scare actors were in just perfect positions. It just had you looking different directions every which way. It was crazy. Stuff was going on all around you. It was just a great house, just fantastic. So the next house on my list that you definitely do not want to miss is The Haunting of Hill House. What an amazing house. Now, personally, I don't watch the show that much. I haven't seen all of the episodes. Nikki has seen all of the episodes. She thought, as well as me, that they did a very good job of recreating a lot of those scenes from the show. So if you guys have seen the show at all, you know it's kind of creepy anyway. And then when you put yourself into that physical situation, you can obviously imagine how creepy it gets. And they did a very good job here. I think production value wise, this had a much higher production value. They definitely had a bigger budget to do the stuff that they did in this house. So yeah, super creepy. Really, really well done house. Next on my list, and this is one you definitely cannot miss just because of all the amazing characters that are located in this house, and that is, of course, the Icons house. So the Icons house was fantastic. They did some really, really cool stuff in there. They have like these big giant like heads popping out at you, and Jack's obviously in there. All the different icons are in there. There's like kind of scenes putting you into the different icons rooms, and it was just fantastic. Just another great house. So of course, 4th on the list, and this one cannot be overlooked, guys, just a fantastic house, and that is Beetlejuice. So they did have this house last year. They only had it around for a short time, about 2 days. We actually did not have a chance to get over there and check it out, but we were super amazed at how well this was done. So the house is not your typical house. It's kind of like Ghostbusters was last year. It's not real scary, but it's definitely going to make you feel like you are in the movie. So if you guys love that movie, Beetlejuice, and I'm not going to say it again, but if you love that movie, then you're going to love this house. It was absolutely fantastically done, and I would definitely not miss that house. It was great. Just kind of a party atmosphere in the house the whole time you're going through. There are a couple of spots where there was like some people jumping out at you that might startle you a little bit, but all in all, this was more like a fun house than a scare house. Last on my list of top 5, guys, and these are just houses that you definitely don't want to miss, I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So what I kind of liked about Texas Chainsaw Massacre is they kind of did away with a lot of the plexiglass. So the plexiglass this year has been a little bit of a deterrent. So unfortunately, as the lights are going on and off in there, you can see the plexiglass, and that will allow you to kind of know that, hey, something's coming up, be prepared. So I definitely liked the houses better without the plexiglass, but I completely understand Universal's decision here and trying to make the event safe for their staff and us alike. So unfortunately, the plexiglass is there, and unfortunately, it does hinder the effect a little bit. There is much less plexiglass to be found at the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house. And that house obviously is an iconic, scary movie. You're going to notice and know a lot of the scenes from the house. Also, you can't help but notice that you're in a dark, scary area and chainsaws are firing up all around you. So it definitely makes it kind of a worrisome house. So out of those, guys, definitely don't miss them. So now I'm going to talk about a couple houses that if you miss them, you're not going to be missing anything. So unfortunately, this is a house that I had super, super high hopes for. There was a lot of talk about this house, about how great it was going to be. The backstory was actually really, really good for this house, but it did not deliver. And that was Puppet Theater. Now, I had a bunch of my friends with me. We all went through Puppet Theater with an open mind. At the end of it, everybody in the group rated this house very, very poorly. Walking around the park, we talked to a lot of other Halloween Horror Nights goers, and all of them said that they were disappointed with this house. We're not 100% sure why, and I'm sure the wait times will start to reflect this. So both nights of the events, Puppet Theater actually had some of the highest wait times. We're not really sure why. I know this house had a lot going for it as far as background story and just fluff and people thinking it was going to be amazing. Unfortunately, with all of that, I don't believe that Universal delivered. The house was just not really scary at all, first of all. I mean, unless you're like super terrified by puppets. Secondly, it just felt like you just moved from scene to scene and it was kind of choppy. It didn't feel like I was smoothly moving through the scenes. So I was definitely not happy with that. I want to know what you guys think in the comments though. Let me know like what your top 5 houses were. Let me know if you think the order that I have is wrong. Let me know if you guys think Puppet Theater was amazing. You know, everybody has a different opinion, but I just was not happy with that house whatsoever. So the next house that if you miss it, I don't think you're going to be really missing out on anything, is going to be Welcome to Scary. So this house is actually has another cool backstory. It could have been pretty awesome, and we may have caught it at a bad time also, because sometimes this happens. So it just felt like as we were going through the house, there were sections in the house where we felt like scare actors should have been there, and they just weren't. We had a similar experience over at the Case Files house. It was kind of like you were walking through and you know, hey, something should be here, and it just never happened. So we could have caught those houses in between a change, like when they're changing over characters. Not really sure, but let me know in the comments what you guys thought of Case Files and Welcome to Scary. So we just had higher hopes for this house, and it didn't really deliver. So moving on from stuff that you don't need to see to something that you definitely do need to see. So this year's show, Halloween Nightmare Fuel. Oh man, I didn't have a lot of like big hopes for this show. I was really hoping they were going to bring back some other shows. I was really actually kind of hoping we were going to get a Beetlejuice show. Being that we had a Beetlejuice house, I thought, man, this would be amazing if they just brought back like kind of a variation of the old Beetlejuice show. Unfortunately, that did not happen, but that's not to say that I was not thoroughly impressed. This show was amazing. Now, unfortunately, guys, Universal, with all of their rules, would not let anybody record in the show. So I do have a clip of the crowd, and let me tell you what, they are absolutely packing this stadium. So if you guys are kind of on the fence with the whole COVID thing going on, and you don't want to be packed in like sardines with people, this show may not be for you. So they are definitely not spacing people out 6 feet during this show. It was absolutely packed. Now, obviously, this is opening weekend, and as it goes on and more people have seen the show, it possibly could get less popular, but I seriously doubt it. If I went back to Halloween Horror Nights, which we actually will go back, we're actually going to go back and do a whole video about just the food and drinks, because there was honestly so many options there. It's going to take me a whole video to go through them all with you guys, and we actually cannot wait for that video. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So probably anytime we go back to Halloween Horror Nights, I will probably go and catch this show, because honestly, the show was absolutely amazing. So in trying to explain this show the best way to you guys, it's basically like Universal went out and grabbed David Blaine and a bunch of strippers and smashed them together, and they made a show of it, and that show was Halloween Nightmare Fuel. So it is honestly kind of amazing, and I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but if you don't catch this show, you will definitely regret it. So Halloween Horror Nights, guys, was it worth it? Yeah, in my opinion, it's always worth it. I love Halloween Horror Nights. The fact that we even got an event this year is worth it to me. So we haven't had a real Halloween Horror Nights event in 2 years, so to be able to go back was absolutely amazing. Now, I will say that Express Pass, they definitely did raise the price on Express Pass. So it is going to cost you a little bit more. So if you don't mind paying that money, but you want that convenience of being able to walk through every house in about 15 minutes, you definitely want Express Pass. We had Express Pass on opening night, which was a sold out night, and we were able to tackle all 10 houses, and we had about 2.5 hours to spare. Also, opening night, we had about 3 hours of torrential rain, which definitely slowed down our house hunting process. So if you were there on a normal night without a ton of rain and nothing really slowing you down, you could easily get through all 10 houses in a couple hours with Express Pass. So Express Pass, although is expensive, it is worth it if you love the convenience. If you don't mind waiting about 30 to 40 minutes per house, we think you could probably skip the Express Pass. We'll let you guys know throughout kind of the Halloween Horror Nights season, kind of how the crowd levels are going. But for the first 2 nights, like I said, the longest wait time that we saw was 65 minutes. Most of the other wait times were between 25 minutes and about 40 minutes. So honestly, pretty realistic, good wait times. No real problems in the wait time department currently. So hopefully you guys got some good information out of this. Hopefully I made your Halloween Horror Nights trip a little easier. We are going to be checking out a ton of great Halloween stuff this year. We're going to be doing SeaWorld's brand new Halloween event. We have a drive-through Halloween experience that may be okay for smaller children if you're trying to see if your child is going to be okay with some of these other haunted events. This one may be a little less scary for them. We are also going to be doing Busch Gardens Hollow Scream again this year. We love this event. They put on a fantastic event. If you've never been there, you're missing out. So we're going to be doing all of those great events plus some more. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the amazing stuff that we are going to do. Like I said, we are also going to be dropping a video very, very soon of Cabana Bay, and we will be going back to Halloween Horror Nights to check out all of the amazing food and drink options. So hopefully you guys will join us for that, and I appreciate you guys being with us, and we will see you guys on the next one.
What's the best haunted house? The best haunted house is Haunting on Hill House. The haunting of Hill House. That's the girl, that's the chick. We actually said the same thing. We said it looked like Daft Punk too. Sucking the blood out, Nikki.